Thank you so much for having me here today, Shana. I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm super excited. So Sandra and I have been working together for, I think we just kind of just chatted about that 5 or 6 months now.
Yep.
Sandra's new in the coaching space or newer in the coaching space, but has many, many years in the financial industry. And we're going to hear her story in a second. And I'd love to hear one, sort of, how did you get into the financial industry, but then two, your transition into coaching? What made you decide to do that? And just let's just go back and share your story there so we can get a little insight onto Sandra.
Yeah, great question. So, my life before finance was pretty dynamic. I was working as a scuba diving instructor and then, I was taking a bunch of years off traveling the world and doing a bunch of solo travel after high school. And then I got to a point where I moved down to Mexico, was learning Spanish and was working all over the world, basically lived in about 6 different countries. Then I met an Aussie guy and moved to Australia. And in 2013, was living in Australia in Melbourne and became a financial planner over there. And I realized that, throughout all my travel, there was a certain level of lifestyle standard that I wanted to achieve for myself. And it was just not happening when I was working for athletic wear companies and scuba diving instructing and hospitality and all that. So I finally sort of pulled my socks up and my mom is a financial planner. She's a senior financial planner and partner in her firm. And my brother is a financial planner as well. So it was definitely in our family genetics, I guess you want to say, or in the family tree. So I got to a point when I was living in Australia where I was like, I want to create financial freedom for myself and my future family one day. And
Mm,
I knew that finance was an industry that would be able to provide for that. It was going to be around forever. And it was an industry that a lot of people needed help in. So I had done my Bachelor of Commerce prior to moving to Australia. And then I went to Australia and did my CFP, which is Certified Financial Planner. It is the highest level of education that you can get as a financial planner. And it took me about 2.5 years to complete. And while I was doing that, I was working at a financial planning firm. I actually worked at 3 different firms while I was there.
mm,
And really got a taste for what it was like to work with high net worth clients. So high net worth clients by definition is sort of over $1 million of liquid assets, so not
mm,
tied up in property, that they have to invest with a planner, and they need all sorts of tax planning and structuring and asset protection and all of that kind of stuff. So I was working in that space for a number of years, almost about 7 years, and I just found that there was something missing. And I loved working with my clients. I loved everything about the client facing aspect of my job.
yeah.
But it was something about working with high net worth clients that had already achieved this level of financial success that there wasn't a ton of value that I could add from a
Mm,
personal connection perspective,
mm,
right? It was like I could tell them where to invest their money and what structuring they needed to do, but it was largely technical focused.
yeah.
And it wasn't until I was introduced to network marketing as a side business when I was about 5 years into my financial planning career. I had a partner at the time who introduced me to the personal development side of network marketing. And I
Hmm.
started to go to all of these events to help me deal with a crisis that I was going through at the time. And these events really opened my mind to a
Mm,
whole different way of thinking, an entirely different way of doing business. And it really got me connected with like finding what my true purpose was and finding what my vision for myself and my career was,
mm,
regardless of the identity that I had associated with my financial planning career. And
yeah.
it was really almost an ego based career where I was like, there's very few financial planners that are female. There's
Yeah.
very few that have the CFP certification. I mean, 50% of advisors, I don't know what the exact statistic is, but they don't even have the CFP yet, let alone female financial advisors.
Mm,
So it was almost like I was striving to this level of success, but it was based on ego and recognition and job title and status and all of these things, because I was like, I want to be that girl that, can make it and can sit in front of high net worth clients who are high level executives of oil and gas companies and
yeah.
and tell them what to do with their money, right? And I realized that it was coming from a place of identity. that I identified with that role. But I wasn't passionate about it. And I was going into work, and some days I would be so busy, but I felt this sort of burning desire to create something of my own and to have more impact on people's lives, instead of just focusing all on the technical, the masculine energy, the how to, all of that kind of thing. So it's a bit of a long-winded answer, I guess, but
no, it's good.
I transitioned into coaching largely by fluke, because the pandemic hit March 2020, and it hit right when I was between two jobs. So I had already resigned from my previous job, and I was waiting for my visa sponsorship to go through for the next job. And I remember thinking to myself, I don't know how committed I'm going to be to this next job, because I feel a calling for something bigger and better, something that is really firing up my soul. And by this point, I was about 3 years into my network marketing career, and had a thriving business outside of my financial planning career. So I felt this calling, and then the pandemic hit, and I got a phone call from my immigration agent, and she said, Sandra, I've got some bad news for you. Your permanent residency and your job application transfer is going to be put on hold for 6 to 9 months for the foreseeable future, because Australia is pausing all non-essential work visas until they figure out what's happening with the pandemic.
Yeah.
And so there I am, jobless in Melbourne, which is one of the most expensive cities in the world to live in. It rivals Sydney, LA, New York, and I'm jobless. And I'm going, oh crap, what is this pandemic? What do I do now? And the only thing that I could think of at the time was, well, I guess I better go home. I better go home to Vancouver, Canada, and sit and figure it out until this situation goes away, because I didn't have the ability to work in Australia without the visa.
Yeah.
So I flew home in 4 days, sold everything out in my house. One of my clients adopted my dog and my cat. And I literally whirlwind moved home with no plan, living in my parents' house at age 34, in my old bedroom, no furniture, nothing, and had to reinvent my life. And instantly I was forced to let go of the identity that I had created around being a successful financial planner, being headhunted for all these different businesses that were having bidding wars on my salary. And I was earning over 6 figures and had all the benefits and everything, and, retirement savings and all of this stuff. I was wearing a suit every day. I was super polished, well-dressed, the whole 9 yards. And it was an identity shift for me, because now all of a sudden I'm spending 7 days a week in yoga pants in my parents' living room, working out in the backyard, no dog, no career, no income, nothing was left. Right. And it took me a while to get over this. It took me a lot of, there were a lot of days where I was having a really dark moments. And I realized that eventually I had a gift that I was suppressing with my own feelings and my own, sadness and overwhelm, that I had a gift of combining the work that I had done in network marketing, the personal development, the learning about what really drives you and what the vision for your life is and what you want to create, outside of your job title and your career. And then I also had the technical expertise of 7 years in financial planning. And I go, how can I use these two things together? Because I wasn't feeling super aligned to network marketing, but I liked what it was about coaching and taking people through a transformation and an experience. And I liked what I did with finance. So I was like, how can I marry the two skills together and create something new? And it took a little bit of figuring out. I did a coaching mastermind for 4 months with Joel Brown, who is a mentor of mine. And he has been, he was the first podcast I ever listened to. He's got like over 600 episodes or something, and lives in Bali. He's an Australian guy that I knew through friends of network marketing and have met him in person. And I really resonated with his messaging about what it means to be a coach. And I didn't know anything about this coaching world. So I did a 4-month intensive mastermind. It was 2 calls a week plus homework for 4 months. And there were about 25 of us in the group. And we learned about what it means to do forgiveness work and shadow work and working on our money stories and the demons that we have inside of ourself, and unleashing those and doing our own transformation before we stepped into a coaching role where we were going to have to take our clients through similar transformations, depending on what kind of coaching we were going to go through.
Mm-hmm.
So we did 2 months of this intensive coaching ourselves. And, everybody in the group cried at one point in one call. We were all having these emotional, spiritual awakenings in this coaching program. And after that, I was like, this is my calling. This is what I was meant to do, because I see finances as one piece of the pie. Now, I believe it's the World Health Organization that constitutes wellness as social, mental, physical, spiritual, and financial. And so to have those 5 principles of wellness, without one of those pillars, the stool doesn't keep standing. It's missing a leg, right? And you can be the most interconnected, healthiest, yoga practicing, physical body, filling your body with nutritious nutrients. But if you're stressed financially, and in the back of your mind, you're wondering, how am I going to pay my bills every month? How am I going to put food on the table for my children? How am I going to, make the next rent payment or whatever? You do not have wellness. So here I was coaching people on physical transformations with my network marketing company, which was all centered around nutrition and weight loss and healthy eating and clean supplements. And then I was, coaching clients on their financial wealth. But I was realizing that all of these things are connected.
Yeah.
And then with our mental health as well, which is, physical and financial stress has a very, very significant impact on our mental well-being. So I started going down this journey of, discovery of what it means to be a coach and what kind of transformations I was passionate about getting for my clients. And I realized it was really holistic around how can I coach people on lifestyle transformations, about embodying their, inner confidence that they didn't know they had, or that they were missing pieces of, so that they could earn more, grow their wealth, live a life of financial freedom, but it was still in alignment with their values, of whatever their values are. So they're not showing up from a place of greed or, things like that. It was like, how can they be connected spiritually, mentally, physically, financially, and socially, and have all of the pieces to the pie?